you ready to go? I can't hear you. Well, it's good to be back. Thank you. Can everybody please give Cecile a big round of applause for the great introduction to what she does? We've got your congressman here, Jerry Connolly, in the House. 18 days. 18 days, Virginia. 18 days, and you're going to step into a voting booth. And you're going to have a very big choice to make. Not just a choice between two candidates or two parties, but between two fundamentally different visions for this country that we love. You know, Governor Romney's got his sales pitch. We heard it the other night in the debate. He's been running around talking about his 5-point plan for the economy. Don't boo, vote. Vote. He wants you to believe that somehow he'll create 12 million jobs, cut taxes by $5 trillion, even though it favors the wealthiest Americans. None of this will add to the deficit. When folks who don't actually work for Governor Romney start crunching the numbers, turns out tax plan doesn't add up, jobs plan doesn't create jobs, deficit plan doesn't reduce the deficit. An economist at the New York Times put it this morning, there's no jobs plan, there's just a snow job on the American people. A snow job. Virginia, you've heard of the New Deal. You've heard of the square deal, the fair deal. Mitt Romney's trying to give you a sketchy deal. A sketchy deal. And it's really just a 1-point plan, not a 5-point plan. 1 point. Folks at the very top play by a different set of rules than all of you. Don't boo, vote. If he offered you that deal when he was in corporate finance, you wouldn't give him a dime. So why would you give him his vote? This same philosophy that's been squeezing the middle-class family for more than a decade, the same philosophy that got us into this mess, we can't go back to that. I've met too many good Americans who work so hard, show so much resilience, so much resolve. We have been fighting our way back from some of the same policies he's advocating. We have been there. We have tried it. We can't go back. We are moving forward. And that's why I'm running for a second term as President of the United States. Now, I believe that the biggest issue in this election is how do we rebuild a strong middle class and provide ladders for opportunity, all those who want to get into the middle class, who are willing to work hard, willing to take responsibility. Are we going to make sure that we're a country where everybody gets a fair shot and everybody's doing their fair share and everybody is playing by the same rules? So the economy is the dominant issue. But I want everybody to understand that that's not the only place where Governor Romney is offering you a sketchy deal. It's bad enough that my opponent wants to take us back to the failed economic policies of the past. But when it comes to issues critical to women, the right to make your own decision about your health, the right to be treated fairly and equally in the workplace, Governor Romney wants to take us to policies more suited to the 1950s. Even his own running mate said he's kind of a throwback to the 50s. That's one thing we agree on. he may not have noticed we're in the 21st century. And in the 21st century, a woman deserves equal pay for equal work. This should be a no-brainer. But no matter how many times Governor Romney's asked whether or not he supports a law upholding that idea, he refuses to say. Why should this be hard? Are you for equal pay for equal work? Are you for making sure that laws enforce that basic principle? He can't tell you, I can. I support that law. In fact, the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act was the first law that I signed into office. And this isn't just a women's issue. No man should want his wife or his daughters paid less than a man for doing the same job. This is a family issue. This is an economic issue. It's one that we've got to fight for. When Governor Romney says he's going to get rid of funding for Planned Parenthood, don't boo. Vote. What he apparently doesn't understand is that there are millions of women all across the country who rely on Planned Parenthood, not just for contraceptive care, but for preventive care. That's not just a health issue, it's an economic issue. When Governor Romney said he'd have supported an extreme measure in Massachusetts that could have outlawed some forms of contraception, when he joined the far right of his party to support a bill that would have allowed any employer to deny contraceptive care to their employees. Don't boo. Well, what he didn't get is that making sure your insurance policy covers contraceptive care is an economic issue also. I don't think your boss should decide what's best for your health and safety. I don't think your insurance company gets to decide what care you should get. And I sure don't think any politician should decide. The only person who should decide about your health care is you. And by the way, that's why we fought so hard to pass health care reform, AKA Obamacare. That's why we pushed for it. This law has secured new access to preventive care like mammograms and other cancer screenings for more than 20 million women with no copay, no deductible, no out-of-pocket costs, because I do not believe a working mother should have to put off a mammogram just because money's tight. This law means that most health plans are now beginning to cover the cost of contraceptive care, because I don't think a college student in Charlottesville or Blacksburg or Fairfax should have to choose between textbooks or the preventive care that she needs. And by the way, for all the young people out here, Obamacare has already allowed nearly 7 million young adults under the age of 26 to sign up to stay on their parents' plans. For all those who are young at heart but not young in years, it's already saved millions of seniors on Medicare, hundreds of dollars on their prescription medicine. Insurance companies can no longer put lifetime limits on your care or discriminate against children with pre-existing conditions. And soon they'll no longer be able to charge women more for the same care just because they're women. That's what change looks like. Thank you. Now, anybody who thinks that this election doesn't matter, know this. My opponent has promised to repeal all of the things we just talked about as soon as he takes office. Says he'd do it on day one. We know full well that if he gets the chance, he'll rubber stamp the agenda of this Republican Congress the second he takes office. Virginia, we can't give him that chance. I know he's called himself severely conservative. But there's nothing conservative about a government that prevents a woman from making her own health care decisions. He talks about freedom. But freedom's the ability to choose the care you need when you need it. Freedom's the ability to change jobs or start your own business without the fear of losing your health insurance. Freedom is the knowledge that you'll no longer be charged more than men for the same health care or denied affordable coverage just because you beat cancer. And when the next president and Congress could tip the balance of the highest court in the land in a way that turns back the clock for women and families for decades to come, you don't want someone who needs to ask for binders of women. You don't want that guy. You want a president who's already appointed 2 unbelievable women to the Supreme Court of the United States. So, Virginia, the choice, the choice between going backward and moving forward has never been so clear. But now that we're 18 days out from the election, Mr. Severely Conservative wants you to think he was severely kidding about everything he said over the last year. He told folks he was the ideal candidate for the Tea Party. Now suddenly he's saying, what, who, me? He's forgetting what his own positions are, and he's betting that you will too. I mean, he's changing up so much and backtracking and sidestepping. We've got to name this condition that he's going through. I think it's called Romnesia. That's what it's called. I think that's what he's going through. I'm not a medical doctor, but I do want to go over some of the symptoms with you because I want to make sure nobody else catches it. If you say you're for equal pay for equal work, but you keep refusing to say whether or not you'd sign a bill that protects equal pay for equal work, you might have Romnesia. If you say women should have access to contraceptive care, but you support legislation that would let your employer deny you contraceptive care, you might have a case of Romnesia. If you say you'll protect a woman's right to choose, but you stand up at a primary debate and said that you'd be delighted to sign a law outlawing that right to choose in all cases, man, you definitely got Romnesia. Now, this extends to other issues. If you say earlier in the year, I'm going to give a tax cut to the top 1%, and then in a debate you say, I don't know anything about giving tax cuts to rich folks. You need to get a thermometer and take your temperature because you probably got Romnesia. If you say that you're a champion of the coal industry, while you were governor, you stood in front of a coal plant and said, this plant will kill you. That's some Romnesia. I think you're beginning to be able to identify these symptoms. And if you come down with a case of Romnesia, and you can't seem to remember the policies that are still on your website, or the promises you've made over the 6 years you've been running for president, here's the good news. Obamacare covers pre-existing conditions. We can fix you up We've got a cure. We can make it well, Virginia. This is a curable disease. Women, men, all of you, these are family issues. These are economic issues. I want my daughters to have the same opportunities as anybody's sons. I believe America does better. The economy grows more. We create more jobs when everybody participates, when everyone's getting a fair shot. Everybody's getting a fair shake. Everybody's playing by the same rules. Everybody's doing their fair share. That's why I'm running for a second term for President of the United States. I need you to help me finish the job. Four years ago, I told you we'd end the war in Iraq, and we did. I said we'd end the war in Afghanistan, we are. I said we'd refocus on the terrorists who actually attacked us on 9/11, and we have. Al-Qaeda's on the path to defeat. Osama bin Laden is dead. 4 years ago, I promised to cut taxes for middle-class families, and I have. I promised to cut taxes for small business owners. We have 18 times. We got every dime back from the banks that we used to rescue those banks. We've passed laws to end taxpayer-funded Wall Street bailouts for good. We repealed Don't Ask, Don't Tell to make sure that nobody who wants to serve our country gets kicked out because of who they love. When Governor Romney said he'd let Detroit go bankrupt, we said, we're not going to take your advice. We reinvented the dying auto industry. It's come roaring back to the top of the world. 4 years after the worst economic crisis of our lifetime, we're moving. After losing 800,000 jobs a month when I took office, businesses have now added over 5 million new jobs. Unemployment has fallen from 10% to 7.8%. Home values are back on the rise. Stock market's nearly doubled. 401ks are starting to recover. Manufacturing's coming home. Assembly lines are humming again. We've got to keep moving forward. We've got to keep moving forward. We've got more work to do. I've got a plan, and it's a real plan, not a sales pitch, to grow the economy and create jobs and build more security for the middle class. I want to send fewer jobs overseas and sell more products overseas. I want to invest in manufacturers and small businesses that create jobs right here in Virginia, right here in America. I want us to control more of our own energy, cut oil imports in half, create thousands of clean energy jobs. I want every child to have the same chance at a great education that Michelle and I received. I want to hire more teachers in math and science, train 2 million workers at community colleges, bring down the cost of college tuition. I want to use the savings from ending the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan to pay down our deficit, put our people back to work right here, doing some nation building here at home. That's the agenda you need. That's the agenda we need. That's how we strengthen the middle class. That's how we'll keep moving forward. And in 18 days, you're going to have a chance to say whether we keep moving forward. In 18 days, you can choose between top-down economic policies that got us into this mess or the middle-class-out policies that are getting us out of this mess. In 18 days, you can choose a foreign policy that gets us into wars with no plan to get out, or you can say, let's end the Afghan war responsibly. Let's bring our troops home. Let's focus on making sure that we're building America. In 18 days, you can let them turn the clock back 50 years for immigrants and gays and women, or we can stand up and say, we are a country in which everybody has a place. A country where no matter where you are, no matter what you look like, no matter where you come from, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Native American, young, old, gay, straight, able, disabled, we have a place for everybody. Everybody's got a chance to make it if you try. That's what's at stake, Virginia. That's why I'm asking you for your vote. I believe in you. I need you to keep believing in me. I want to finish the job. And if you're willing to stand with me and make some phone calls with me and knock some doors with me, get your friends to vote for me, we will win Fairfax County again. We'll win Virginia again. We'll finish what we started, and we'll remind the world why the United States of America is the greatest nation on earth. God bless you. God bless the United States of America.